So this is day 8 of the fermentation for the blackberry and raspberry mead. So I've been looking on the internet and talked to a few people, and I believe the seeds in the blackberries and raspberries do have tannin in it, just like grape seeds have tannin. So if you leave it in too long, there supposedly you can get a better taste. So I haven't done this before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rack this off of the leaves that are already on the bottom and also away from the fruit. I'm going to rack it into the 1 gallon jug. So without the fruit there and without the leaves, I should be able to have enough to max out my gallon jugs. Alright, so I'm going to rack it, and then additionally I'm going to check its specific gravity and just give it a taste, just to see where we are in the fermentation process. Unlike wine, mead is supposed to take substantially longer to ferment, potentially 3 or 4 weeks to ferment, maybe even longer. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. All right. Well, let's get to racking. All right, we're going to do the blackberry first. So it's been about a week since I transferred these. I only showed you the transfer of the raspberry because the battery on this camcorder went out and I had to finish it. So you can tell the different colors. This is the blackberry. This is the raspberry mead, and they're still bubbling. They're still fermenting. Not super vigorously, but enough. They each bubble. Anywhere from every 1 to 2 seconds, it'll bubble, and I'll show you that in a second because these are different airlocks than I've shown in the other videos. I think the Pinot Noir video that I've done. So it's a different type of airlock. So with that, let me show you the airlock, and then we'll wait for another week or 2 to test it and see how everything's progressing. All right. All right. So here they are. This is the raspberry. With this type of airlock, it's like kind of like the trap in your sink or your toilet, where you fill this up with water both sides, and when then the gas starts to come down, and it lets the gas out through the water, but doesn't let the air back in. So this is just a different type of airlock. And this one's bubbling about once every, I don't know, 2 to 5 seconds, probably 5 seconds. And this is a blackberry, slightly different color due to the blackberries. And this is bubbling about every 2 to 2 seconds. So that's it. I will see you all in another week or so, and see how this is progressing. Slug on. All right, so we're back. This is the blackberry mead. This is the raspberry mead. Their blackberry is just about 100% complete with fermentation. I can still see a few bubbles coming up, but for the most part, it is done. The raspberry is about the same, but it's not quite as finished as this. However, I tasted them this past week. The blackberry, for some reason, has a funny aftertaste almost to it. I'm not a big fan of it right now, but the raspberry is is good. I've never had mead before, but this is, you can taste the raspberry, and it's kind of gives it a almost, it'd be great summer drink, maybe even chilled. It's kind of a refreshing taste to it. So what I'm going to do is, I was wrong initially. Like I said, these are finished, just finishing up fermentation, and I put these in on the 24th of May. It is now the 27th of July, so 60 days of fermenting. I thought it was going to be like wine, like 14, maybe 20 at the most, but nah, it was, after reading online more and then just watching this, it was not even close at that point in time. So mead does definitely take a longer time to ferment. Don't know what it is, need to do some research on it. It must be the types of sugars that are in the honey. Must be harder to break down or something like that. But what I'm going to do is, these are basically done fermenting. I'm happy with them right now. I'm going to transfer these into new gallon jugs to get them away from the sediment here. And then I will start the clarification, stabilization and clarification process for both of these, and let it sit for, mead is supposed to actually age for longer than wine almost. I mean, it's at least a year, if not more, 2 years before drinking. So what I'm going to do, so that's what I'm going to do, put these in new jugs, and do the stabilization and the clarification process. So we'll get to that in a second. Alright, so I transferred it. I didn't show you the transfer. All I did is I used plastic tubing, and that's it. I just was careful that when I got down to like a half an inch from the bottom, and you could see it, that I didn't get any of the sediment. I started pulling, once I started to pull a little bit of the sediment, I stopped it. So these used to be, I probably lost, I don't know, maybe a half a glass of mead in each of them, in each of the gallons. So, but I did a pretty good job of not getting any of the lees into the new containers. But what I do have, and what I should have done to begin with, is to make sure that the fermentation is completely stopped. I should have dissolved my half a teaspoon of potassium bisulfite. Alright, so I'm back. I've now stabilized and clarified the mead. I did, before I did not talk about what I was going to use to clarify it, but this is what I used. Super Clear KC. It's the combination of Kieselosol and chitosan. So this is what I used, and it did a fantastic job. Interesting note is when I put in the potassium sorbate, and the sulfites, the colors change dramatically on the mead. I'm not quite sure why. I looked it up on the internet and I couldn't really find anything. I guess it just changes the composition and maybe some of the yeasts that are still active, and that's what changed it. But if you look at the old pictures of the mead, they're even though they're cloudier, they're darker, deeper colors. And I'll show you what it looks like now. So this is after a week of clarification and stabilization. So this right here is the raspberry mead, and this is blackberry mead. So you can see, I mean, it cleared up great. It looks gorgeous now. So this mead is supposed to age, looking online, it's supposed to age anywhere from at least a year to 2 years, more on the end of 2 years before it's really drinkable. Or maybe, I guess, at its peak. You can drink it at any time, of course. But you can see the leftover leaves on the bottom of both of these. So what I'm going to do next is, let me get this straight up. What I'm going to do next is rack these again into new 1 gallon jugs off of the leaves, and then I believe what I'm going to do is just age them. I'm in the military. I go to Afghanistan in a couple of months for about a 10-month tour, so I will probably, before I go, bottle them and let them age in bottle instead of bulk. Even though this is only about 750 milliliter bottles worth. 1 gallon typically is about 5 bottles, regular bottles of wine. So that's what I'm going to do. Don't need to show you that right now. So what I will do is, when I rack it over, I'll just put a little bit in the glass and show you guys what it looks like, and then give it a taste before I kind of pack it up for the long haul. Alright, I'll be back in a bit to do all that. Alright, so I'm back. I transferred the mead yesterday off the leaves after it cleared, and today I let it set up plus it was getting late. So today is what I just did is I took samples out of each. I took my my hydrometer readings so I could check what the final ABV is, percent alcohol by volume, and both came out to be about the same. Actually, they're both 13.6% alcohol by volume, which is, I guess, alright. I don't know if it's my first mead, so I guess you can have a kind of a wide variety, just like wines. You can have a wide variety of alcohol contents for your mead. But what's interesting is the raspberry mead, which originally had a higher starting specific gravity, so greater alcohol potential there. It didn't. What I thought was complete ferment, it was a little bit had a little bit more sugar in it, I guess, than the blackberry. The blackberry actually, the final specific gravity on blackberry was 1.00, where the specific gravity on the final on the raspberry was 1.006. Pretty close to 1 and being kind of completely fermented dry. But it was interesting nonetheless that that this one, which I thought was finished fermenting, still had a little bit to go. Anyway, so now it's tasting time. And if you look on the glasses, let's see, the one on my left hand, this one is the raspberry, and this is the blackberry. So side by side, can't tell much of a difference. a little bit in the glass. Obviously, you can tell more in the gallon jugs. So a little bit of a taste test, just to round out this video series on making mead. The raspberry actually smells really good. Once again, never had mead before. This is my first try, so probably should have bought some just to give it a whirl, but that's actually pretty good. Just a hint of honey and raspberry. Can taste the raspberry. I have a really dry white wine. A little bit of a funny aftertaste. I'm not sure if that'll go away with aging, because once again, these meads are supposed to age like a year and a half or 2 years. So this is the blackberry, and this one I tasted before. I had a little bit of a funky aftertaste. No, it's a little bit drier, less alcohol or less sugar left in this one. That's actually not bad either. Tastes better than it did before. So hopefully with time, these will kind of smooth out. And they're dry meats. They're not. I haven't back sweetened them. A lot of times, I've read that people will ferment them down to completion and then back sweeten them with either honey or regular sugar to make a sweeter mead. But I'm not a huge sweet wine fan, so that's why I chose to do just regular dry mead. And not bad. So, good first try on the mead. I guess more to come on this. It'll be a while before I get another try on the mead, because I'm getting ready to deploy again to Afghanistan. So, gonna have to put this on hold until I get back. But not a bad first try. Hopefully by the time I get back, this will be ready to drink a full bottle, and it'll be more smoothed out by then. So with that, this is the Wine Slug's first take on making mead, and it didn't turn out too bad. Not bad for the first time. All right, so more to learn, and hopefully we'll see you on the YouTube site or on the website. As I progress and get more information out on the website. I'm a little slow with that, but it'll come with time. So with that, have a great day, and slug on.